diversity and inclusion. And I think now with the use of technology and even work from home actually provides opportunity to employers. And of course, Aurangzeb, the president of HPL, also mentioned that digital is a means, and of course, going towards increasing financial inclusion. Yousaf, I'll come to you, and I would ask your thoughts on what are the important challenges and things to do in terms of and also from the perspective of Islamic banking while using these tools and to enhance financial inclusion.
I think पहले तो मोहसिन ने बड़ी अच्छी बातें की. I think एक point जो मैं उसमें ऐड करना चाहता हूँ वो है empathy का. You know, you have to realize that what does your customer want and what does your sort of workforce want in terms of an enabling environment. So ये जो है ये actually realize करना पड़ेगा और कर भी रहे हैं लोग कि दुनिया कैसे चेंज हो रही है और इसमें रिक्वायरमेंट कैसे चेंज हो रही है. तो इट्स द स्पीड ऑफ द चेंज. एंड आई थिंक अनदर इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट इज़ के जो डिपेंडेंसीज अपॉन एक्सटर्नल पार्टनर्स हैं. सो नॉट एवरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इज़ केपेबल ऑफ हैंडलिंग दैट चेंज. और इंटरनल डेवलपमेंट्स के ऊपर जब ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस जाती हैं तो वहाँ पर फिर प्रॉब्लम होती है, टाइम लगता है. सो इट्स आई थिंक इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि जो एक्सटर्नल हमारे पास चैनल्स अवेलेबल हैं, एक्सटर्नल पार्टनरशिप्स हैं, उनको बैंक्स के अंदर या इन जनरल भी हम उसको टैप करें सो दैट वी कैन मैच द स्पीड ऑफ द चेंज. और आई थिंक इट इज़ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि जो empathy along with speed of the change and the external partnership. So these three things I would like to add what Mohsin said. अच्छा, अब इस्लामिक बैंकिंग के बारे में अगर बात करें तो इट इज़ एब्सोल्युटली एन इम्पॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट इन टर्म्स ऑफ द फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन. जो स्टेट बैंक के सर्वेज़ हैं और इन जनरल हमारी जिस तरह की मार्केट है वो ये क्लियरली इंडिकेट करती है दैट अ लार्ज प्रोपोर्शन ऑफ आर potential customers do not have a banking relationship because they feel that they need to have the Sharia compliant solutions available, and interest perspective say they're not that comfortable in terms of conventional banking. And that's why if you see that Islamic banking growth as compared to the conventional banking growth is almost 50% more. So there is a general liking in terms of Islamic banking. There's a very strong preference. So Faysal Bank, we are going through this journey of converting from a conventional bank to an Islamic bank. It's probably one of the largest conversions in the world that a running bank is going through. So हमने जो कस्टमर बिहेवियर वहाँ पर देखा है, वहाँ पर ना सिर्फ जो है वो आपको ग्रोथ मिलती है इन टर्म्स ऑफ द न्यू कस्टमर्स, बल्कि एग्जिस्टिंग कस्टमर्स भी जो है वो दे हैव अ प्रेफरेंस दैट इफ़ all things are the same in terms of the product availability, in terms of the channels that are available, then there is a strong inkling towards Islamic banking. So we have seen that, and it is clearly a preference. इस चैनल को जो है इस्तेमाल हम भी कर रहे हैं और आई थिंक तमाम बैंक्स इसको यूज़ कर रहे हैं. ऑब्वियसली फॉर कमर्शियल पर्पसेस तो अपनी जगह पे है कि आपको एक मार्केट मिल रही है नई और उसके अंदर ग्रोथ है. बट आई थिंक फ्रॉम अ फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन परस्पेक्टिव एज वेल, सो देयर इज़ अ लॉट ऑफ मार्केट. There are a lot of people who actually have a preference for Islamic banking. I think the important part is कि इसके लिए channels available किए जाएं. इसके लिए education in terms of understanding what Islamic banking is, that is a clear gap. So hopefully जैसे जैसे बैंक्स इसके ऊपर फोकस कर रहे हैं और इसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग बढ़ती जा रही है और इसके नंबर ऑफ़ ब्रांचेस जो हैं एक्सेस टू द बैंक्स बढ़ता जा रहा है. So I would think that it should act as a major sort of booster in terms of the financial inclusion.
Which sector do you see that is going to be, or which maybe 2-3 sectors which are going to be the game changes? Why and what interventions that will be needed? Shoaib, can I start with you and then work backwards?
Can I share some thoughts on ESG first? Yeah, I will just take 1 minute.
Okay.
So basically, we all know that customer is the king, right? In our segments, अपने segment में. In my opinion, for anything like ESG to happen, the demand has to come from the customers. And that is happening globally. I was talking to one of the fund managers from Fidelity a couple of weeks ago. He said, हमारी जो investment products है ना, हमारे तो client आके पूछते हैं कि भाई आप ESG को देखते ही नहीं देखते, आप climate factors को देखते ही नहीं देखते जब investment करते हैं तो नहीं करते. So I'm pretty sure this is happening. Dr. Shamshad also mentioned about that. Textiles के जो customer हैं वो उनसे पूछते हैं कि आप climate factors को देख रहे हैं, ESG factors को देख रहे हैं. So is going to be the case with the banks. The investors who are investing in the bank shares are tomorrow going to ask, what factors do you consider when providing financing? So I'm totally against any regulation to regulate it. It has to be a private sector initiative. It has to be demand coming from the investors. And exactly the same thing which we saw in the Islamic mutual funds. As soon as there was a demand, we saw that the growth of Islamic funds double that of the conventional funds. So I'm sorry, there's a little time, so I would probably pass on to Basir.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So Basir, your thoughts, 30 seconds. Which industry, why, what interventions?
I think the whole, again, I come back to the same thing, the whole intervention today has to be around sustainable energy. And I think the mess that the discos are in is we need to get off-grid solutions.
Sure. Mohsin, the same to you.
I think in the local context, recent times के हिसाब से आप देखें तो जो ये पूरा government का construction पे initiative है, I think this can be a game changer, not certainly in the next few years, but more on an ongoing basis as well.
Sure.
So I would like to add another sector which is IT. I think on the IT exports front, really need to get our act together. A lot of good work is happening. Unfortunately उसका पैसा बहुत दफ़ा मुल्क के अंदर नहीं आता या हमें visibility नहीं है उसकी. So things have to be organized. I think there's a lot of scope over there.
Thank you, gentlemen. I think very important thoughts. All these sectors are, of course, very important, whether it is construction, that is fueling the whole economic growth, renewable energy, technology. I would just add a few. And I think Ali, right at the beginning of the morning, he mentioned healthcare. I think healthcare is so important, and so is agriculture. And the way I see is that this is like a web connected all of this, so there needs to be a lot of collaboration. Earlier when I was making notes, I'd made, so is the regulator or are the regulations ready for this? But I think there's a good momentum and there's a good pace. It feels that the regulations are evolving with the going forward trends.